What's up, guys? Hey man, I'm shooting in the great outdoors today. There's a good reason for that. First of all, it's beautiful out. Secondly, my cousin's visiting, and she just happens to be like my kid's favorite person in the whole wide world. So it's loud in the house. So I figured I'd come out here because I don't need to be in the studio. I can get some fresh air. It's a little warm out here. I mean, it is toasty, but that's all right. So some fresh air and a little bit of stuff. I'm doing like 5 of the best tips I can think of to help you guys write songs, to help with songwriting, because I mean, everybody needs some help with that once in a while. Songwriting ain't as easy as people think, you know what I mean? Getting inspired, doing what you gotta do, getting your thoughts and feelings on paper, it's not that easy. So here's the best tips I could think of. One, this is a good one, man. Keep a notebook. Keep a notebook, put your ideas in it. You come up with some lyric ideas, write them down. Write the stuff down as you go, song ideas. If you come up with a good line, you never know when that line, when it'll work, Write down just lyrics, specific lyrics, lines that you think are good, little rhymes that work, and just keep them there. And then when you go to write a song, you can go back to that notebook and look up all these ideas. Might help you out. I do that all the time. I keep a couple pieces of paper around. I'm always writing little ideas on them. And sometimes that lyric you come up with today, man, you might be in the middle of writing a song and look back at it and go, oh man, that's perfect. That'll work great here, right? Which that brings me into my second one. You don't have to write the song all at once, right? The idea that people just sit down and write a song, in one setting, it doesn't always work that way. You don't have to write it all at once. You can write it in pieces. You can come up with a hook, and then write a chorus around it, and then come back later and write a verse, come back later after that and write a verse. I've written, verses to songs or parts of songs years after I wrote the first part. I've done that before. I'll write a good a chorus and 2 verses, and then just put it aside and forget about it, and then like 2-3 years later come in and find a riff that works with it, or I'll write a riff and be like, oh, this works really well with that, but it needs a 3rd verse, and I'll write the 3rd verse then. So, you don't have to write it all at once. It doesn't matter how long it takes you. Man, lots of really good songwriters and musicians come back to stuff years later. So here's another good tip for you, man. Don't be scared to change the genre of the song you're working on. I can't tell you how many times I've been working on a song where I'm working on it thinking of it as a country song, and then when it comes time to actually do the song, it doesn't work as country. It ends up being a metal song. Or I'll write hip-hop lyrics that end up becoming, instead of hip-hop, they end up becoming a rock song. Or it becomes like a jazz piece or something. Don't be afraid to change the genre from what you originally meant it to be. And there's nothing wrong with that, man. Sometimes you have to think. Sometimes getting in a certain headspace, like thinking country, can help you write lyrics. And then those lyrics work really well for a rock song you're working on, or for something else you're working on. So don't be afraid to change genres. Changing the genre of what you're working on is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. You don't have to make up your mind at the beginning and stick with it, And here's another thing. Sometimes it helps to write your lyrics with no music in mind whatsoever. Just write it almost as a poem. Just, however the words flow, whatever feels good. The wonderful thing about having lyrics with no music in mind is that when you actually go in the studio and start noodling around and playing with chords and just kind of, you find something that you like, you get a chord progression you like, or a riff that you think, man, that's really badass. I like that. Now you have lyrics that you can go through. If you got a couple poems like that, you can go through and say, oh, does this fit? Does that fit? And it's helpful, man, because a lot of times, hey, I come up with riffs that sound really great, and I'm not really inspired at the moment to write lyrics, but I already wrote lyrics. I can look through my notebook again, that notebook, and see what I have that fits, right? And the most important one. This is the most important. There are no rules. None whatsoever, man. Don't think for a minute that you have to follow any particular set of rules. Man, your lyrics don't need to match your verses. I've heard plenty of songs on the radio where the verses seem to be almost like a different theme, where the chorus doesn't match the verses, where obviously these things weren't written together, and they don't need to match. I mean, if you have a couple verses that fit, but they were written at different times with different ideas, and you like the way it flows, and you like the way it sounds, go for it, man. They don't have to go together. As long as you like how it sounds, they don't have to rhyme. There are plenty of times people don't rhyme. The idea that a song has to rhyme, a lot of times it does, but not always. And if you rhyme most of the time, but you find one spot where you like the way this flows, but it doesn't rhyme, use it. Who cares, man? It doesn't matter. Chances are, you're not going to be like Billboard Top 40. You're not going to have like a horde of people out there going, hey, you didn't rhyme. Who cares? Besides, this is for fun, right? And your lyrics don't need to make sense, and that should go without saying. I can think of tons of big hits where they made no sense whatsoever. No sense. Just total nonsense. I mean, hey, there are plenty of times people have come up with some nonsense just to use, that they sang on the track just for tracking, with the idea of I'll go back and change it later, and then they never did because they like the way it sounds. But nonsense. Nonsense, fine. You don't have to make sense. It's your song. Hey, sometimes that adds mystery. People can wonder, what did he mean? What did he mean by that? Is there some deeper meaning? There isn't. You just didn't feel like making sense that day. Or, hell, sometimes songwriters just get lazy. They're like, whatever. And that's fine. Because the most important thing about music is that you have fun. Same thing with songwriting. Have fun. Enjoy yourself. If you're not having fun, what's the point? I mean, most of us aren't going to be big stars. We're not going to make the radio. Most of us aren't really even going to make that much of a living at this. So the whole point of playing music and writing songs is to enjoy yourself. And then, I mean, if you make it, great, but if you don't, you're enjoying yourself. There's no downside, right? Make sure you're having fun. That's what music's about. And you don't have to be a big star to make music or to write songs. It doesn't have to be something that's going somewhere or is going to, pay the bills. You can literally do it just for you, just to have fun. Because it is fun. So you guys, I love you guys. Peace out, man. Have a good time. Write some songs. Put your thoughts down on paper and subscribe to my channel. That's the pitch, right? I gotta tell you, subscribe, like and subscribe. Isn't that what they always say on the YouTube? This is YouTube. I'm on YouTube. And they always say it, like and subscribe. So, peace out. Till next time. Love you.